It's January 2025, and what that means for many people, it's a new year, and that means new plans, new goals, new ideas. Well, that's certainly what's going to be happening here at RPG Elite. You guys know I don't do videos longer than 20 minutes, but today's video is an excerpt of a video that is over an hour long. And here's another thing. It's the first of its kind that I've ever done on the channel. So we've got a lot of firsts here and new in this particular video. Also, for those of you who've been to the channel for a minute, you guys know I pulled back, only doing one video a week on Tuesdays, but this one's coming out on another day because it's special enough. It's like I said to you guys, if you've only been here for a little while, sometimes I might decide to come out with a video on another day during the week. You can guarantee at least the one on Tuesday. But the rest is kind of up in the air. Well, here's one of those videos that are the extras that I've decided to do. Now, again, you're only going to get an excerpt of this video because I don't do videos longer than 20 minutes. I have about 4 or 5 reasons for that at this point, and we've been doing that for over a year now. But if you want to see the entire hour-plus video, then I will tell you how to do that at the end of this video, so stick around until the end to find out. But let's slide onto this one right now with rolling that transition. Well, it's me, your boy, servant of Shiloh in the hizzy, and I'm doing something just a little bit different. Today, I'm going to do an interview. And it was through another cohort and friend of mine who has his own YouTube channel called Bonding with Board Games. And I had seen, I even forgot how I got there. I think he mentioned something in a comment, and then I went over to his channel. I watched this particular video over on his channel. I'm going to give it in the link below. And I watched the video. I watched it all the way through. I don't do that. Now, you guys know me. I'm picky. I don't do that. And I don't even listen to other tabletop RPG channels because they're not doing what I'm doing, and it's just distraction and it takes away from what I'm doing. But when I watched this video, I was like, this is what I'm talking about. And I was thinking to myself, well, actually, I was praying. I was like, Lord, I got to get a hold of him. So I got a hold of him because there was someone special in that video. Very special. But this was special. And it's right up the alley when it comes to the whole philosophy, RPG Elite philosophy, and the agenda that we are about here on RPG Elite. So I'm going to bring him in right now. And we're going to have just a conversation. I think that's the wrong one. Let me do this one here. All right. We're going to have a conversation with this special individual, which is his mother.
That's right.
Now, again, I'm not going to tell you what was up in the video. You guys can go and watch his video for that. But welcome, Karen and Bart, to the first ever RPG Elite interview. Isn't that something?
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Great to be on your show. I'm a big fan. I've been watching you for a long time. So it was a pleasure. When you actually reached out, I was like, wow, cool.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's not that, well, part of it is. Part of it is I just don't think a lot of stuff is interesting. But the other part was I'm busy normally. I'm just really busy. But something I think was it a comment that you made? Didn't you come over? You had a comment in one of my videos, and you had mentioned. Did you mention in your comment that is what you did?
Yeah, I think it was
kind of interviewed your mother.
Yeah, it was one of your comments post show where you were like, what was a meaningful moment or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was perfect timing. And I put in the comment that on my channel, I actually did an interview with my mom, and that I was gaming with my mom.
That's what got me. That got me. I was like, say what? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's the whole RPG Elite agenda, or part of it.
His mom of 81 years old.
Yeah, and I should say, and I'm sorry, Karen, I even in the video I did, I said my mom, and you're like, you know, I have a name. And I
No,
was like,
I don't care.
So
I like mom.
Yeah.
I worked hard for that.
Yeah, so mom or Karen. So and we have been playing Tales from the Loop. I'll get my shade off there from Free League, and the video just talks about how we got into this, and her mom. I'll let you say, but your story is growing up in Chicago or suburb, and how you used to bike and be free. So.
Yeah, go to the woods. Chicago has a lot of forest preserves, and I would just take off and go. And my parents didn't care. I was out of the house.
So you were, I mean, you would do this kind of like as a self-adventure type of deal? Like you would kind of just go just to explore yourself out in the, I guess it would be the city, right?
Yes.
So you said you grew up in, now is this Chicago proper, or is it a suburb, or?
Elmwood Park, but I was right across the street, second house from the corner of being in Chicago. So it's that
now
close.
Are you still in that area now? Are you still, or are you long gone?
Wichita, Kansas. I've lived all over.
Yep. Wichita, Kansas now. So
okay, so I guess I'm fascinated by this. I really am. I'm so geeked by this. So let's go back to your childhood again. What are some of the things that you remember that you, like when you would go on, you say you take your bike, you go for a ride. What are some of the things that you remember about some of those bike rides, and what kind of, I guess, personal adventures that you went on as a result of one of those bike rides?
I remember getting to the forest preserves. I had to be very careful that a car didn't wipe me out. And then when I get to the forest preserve, I'd be free. And what I liked was the freedom. And I felt really close to God, and there was no other chaos going on.
Would you say that as a result of just kind of being out in, because you know how some people, they like being out in nature, right? And they just like being out there and just having that kind of experience, just being there. Is that something that you would say was your feeling? Because you said freedom was what you really enjoyed about that. Let me hit that for a second. So what was freeing about those bike rides, those trips to the preserve? What was freeing about it?
Well, for one thing, my parents were both controlling in their own way. And so when I was out there, I was in a world where it was nature, God, and me, nothing interfering.
Nice. Now, that kind of, you guys kind of like walked right into that, because that was actually the first question. It was a little bit longer than, so hey, let's keep it going. So, tabletop RPGs, both of you. How did you get started? Let's go with beauty before age. So, Karen, how did you get introduced to tabletop RPGs? Now, hold on a second. I want to know the concept of tabletop RPGs, not playing. So when you understood there was such a thing as tabletop RPGs, when was the first time that you can remember that you were exposed to that?
I didn't know about it till Bart exposed me to it. He has a lot of complicated games, and I really can't follow some of those. And he said, Mom, I've got one that's, I think is going to be right up your alley. And he said, it's storytelling through games. And I said, I'm in.
That is so, I just think that is so cool because, I mean, wow, to be able to share that
Yeah,
with, you know, with your mom and your dad or your family or something, there's something that there's such a blessing in that, for real.
there
Like,
is.
you know how board games kind of do the same thing, but not like tabletop RPGs. Tabletop
100%.
RPGs are a different monster. They're different in that respect. Bart, so let's
Yeah.
go back to you. So the concept, tabletop RPGs, like your first one, when did you get hit?
So the very first time was probably like 1983 was my very first exposure. We lived in the mountains of Colorado, and we were at a church camp for a week, Haji or something like that. And one of the kids there, my dad, he's passed away, but he's a Lutheran pastor. But one of the kids there had one of the early games you don't mention. And I wasn't a big fantasy guy. But he had the big new game you don't mention, and I thought, well, this is interesting. I read a lot. I was a voracious reader. Sixth grade, a perfect teacher, Mr. Rival, got me hooked on reading, and so I thought, well, this will be interesting. What he did, which was the magic that kept me kind of looking, even though I fell away as I got into my 20s and 30s and 40s. I created a fighter character, and it was just like this. I'm sure he didn't even know all the rules, but he knew how to develop story. And of course, we're going up against, I'm a fighter with this big shield, kind of the triangle shield, and we're meeting a dragon. Now, this would have toasted me, but as it breathed its fire, I put up my shield, the flame, he's describing it coming around, and the shield's protecting me, but I took damage. And I'm like, well, what does that look like? And he's like, the shield is melting to your arm. I was like, what? And I could like see it for the first time. And he's like, yep, you're going to take damage, but I think you're also going to have this metal encased arm. And I was like, oh my God. And I think it was like a little one shot, but that always called back. And I thought, man, that was just neat. I got lost in there, but I'm not so much into dragons. And then I saw Twilight 2000, the first edition, and I was like, "Whoa, there we go, there we go." Apocalyptic military. I later picked up Top Secret. I can never get anybody to play it, but it was the story, it was the immersion, it was the group, because it wasn't just me at this; it was the kids that segregated off. And the kid was probably, I'm 13, he's probably 16, so he's running it, but he was so good putting you into the story. And that is what I'm always, I like. The other thing with your channel I love is the emphasis on the role play. I will admit, I feel goofy when I do the voices, but you had one of your episodes where you talked about, yeah, you don't need to be good. You just got to try. So, yeah. And so then I started like, okay, I need to try to I can get into the head. Let me get into the voice and see if I can bring it out. And then I try to play very different characters as well so that I can see, like I got one guy, wherever he shows up, he's going to play some ranger type. It could be a space ranger. It could be a forest ranger. So it could be the survivalist that knows all the special herbs and the apocalypse, but he's going to be
Will Smith of tabletop RPGs, right?
Yeah. So long story, but that was my first exposure. And although I gravitated toward board games, I was playing a lot of Avalon Hill, and I was into World War II. And so the board games kind of continued all the way through. But what happened again was Free League, when they came out with their Twilight 2004E, I saw that Kickstarter. I was not RPGing. My son was a little more into it, and we did some stuff with I'm going to blank, but it's the it'll come to me later. But we had did some stuff on like light story development stuff. And when I saw Twilight 2000 coming out, I kickstarted, and that jumped me right back into RPGs.
Nice. And how long ago was that? Because I don't know. I mean, I know I've done a video, but I don't remember that stuff. So how long ago has it been now since you've been back into tabletop RPGs? Confessions of an 80-year-old role player. This was a blessing to do. Now, as I mentioned, this is not something I normally do, and it's not something I'm going to look to do. This is just something, as I explained, it just kind of came across my desk by the providence of God, and I was just like, yo, this is fantastic. Now, what you don't know is that after I stopped recording, we talked for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, this was like 3 hours of us just going back and forth. Such a blessing. I enjoyed myself tremendously. And I'm going to give you an update on this because I got some information as far as, you know, what's going on with them, well, how they going forward with this and so forth. So I do have an update on that. Now, if you want to go over to Bonding with Board Games, I got their link down in the description. So my boy Bart, what up? Thanks, man, for such a blessed time. I really appreciate it. So, how are you going to watch this whole hour-plus long video? Because I just gave you the cliff notes here, some small stuff. There's 2 steps. 2 steps. The first step is that you got to join the Leet Squad. You have to join the Leet Squad. I'm going to tell you why in a second. So it's very simple to join the Leet Squad, which is my mailing link. So what you got to do is you got to go and hit that link down in the description that says Leet Squad sign up. You've seen that come across the screen if you've been paying attention. Hit that. It'll take you to a landing page. You'll put in your name, email address, and all the rest of that. And then blazao blazang, you are part of the Leet Squad. So that's the first step. But there's one more step. The second step is you need to write me and let me know that you want to be in on the RPG Elite Membership's Early Access Beta. Now, this has been going on for, I think, May of 2024. I think we've been doing this for that long. And what we've been doing is just basically slowly but surely putting in some content. So by the time that we launch, and the tentative date to launch is April of 2025. So we've got a few months to go here. You're going to see me mentioning this a little bit more on the channel, probably a lot more on the channel. So you guys will know memberships are going to be open. Now, what's an RPG Elite membership? It's basically our own private Patreon. So we don't do it on Patreon. We do it over at rpgelite.us, which is our website. So hit me up in an email after you join the Leet Squad. Say, hey, I want to in on the early access for RPG Elite memberships. I'll be like, okay. Now another caveat here is that this particular interview is going to be only for Special Forces or Commander tier memberships. So it's not going to be for enlisted folks. So sorry. So you have to be Commander or higher in order to watch this interview in its entirety. But you will go ahead and get all the rest of the content that we've been building up since then. So you don't just get that, you get everything else and everything else that'll come after it. And yeah, it's a monthly subscription, just like Patreon. You guys know the deal. So that is how you can watch this in its entirety. Woo! All right, y'all. Well, if you got any value out of this video, if it blessed you like it blessed me at all, then you can go ahead and do a brother a solid. I'd appreciate it. And just crush the like button. Also, if you want to stick around, like I said, I come out with videos every Tuesday, but like today, I might throw another video in there, and I've got some posts and some other stuff. We're about to get active here on the channel. So if you don't want to miss anything, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. All right, y'all, that will be it for moi. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for a brother to do a snaggle puss.
So exit, stage left.
Hey, if you've got a game coming up this weekend, happy gaming, y'all. I pray it is an RPG Elite session that's more immersive, more enjoyable, and more meaningful. So in the meantime, between time, y'all can watch this video right here. And until the next time, God willing, it's me, your boy servant, saying peace. 5,000 leets. That's right. I'm gone.